Welcome to Realms of Sci-Fi and Fantasy. I am your host, Lady Fantasy. Today's topic, children. They're adorable, aren't they? Always so sweet and so innocent. Yeah, right. I like kids, but I'll be the first to admit that they can be nasty little buggers sometimes, especially when they mouth off, don't do what they're told, break stuff right and left, and are just mean to each other for no good reason. And those are just the normal ones. In science fiction and fantasy, there are brats that are so manipulative, so diabolical, so cruel, that they make your average gangbanger look like an angel. Today, I'm going to be counting down what I consider the 13 baddest of the bad. The more sadistic they are, the higher I place them. If they have any sympathetic qualities or turn good, I'll take them down a spot or two. Be forewarned, I'm going to try to keep spoilers to a minimum, but there are going to be a few. So now that you know the rules, let's get started with the countdown, shall we? This is the top 13 most evil brats of science fiction and fantasy.
On the day I was born, the nurses all gathered round, and they gazed in wide wonder at the joy they had found. The head nurse spoke up, said, "Leave this one alone." She could tell right away that I was bad to the bone, bad to the bone, bad to the bone.
The Digimon Emperor from Digimon Season 2. The first human enemy in the Digimon series, the Digimon Emperor takes over the digital world in the years between Seasons 1 and 2. He uses his dark rings and dark spirals to enslave the Digimon. He whips them, uses them for experiments, and makes them fight for his amusement, all while wearing his gleefully evil grin. He even beats his partner Wormmon, the only person who likes him, and he reasons that he's perfectly within his rights to do so. He's smarter and more ambitious than all the pathetic little people in the digital world or the real one. He's far superior to them, so why shouldn't he treat them as he pleases? And when the Digidestined come to save the digital world, well, they're spoiling his fun, so they must be eliminated. The Emperor and the next two entries could have been higher up on the list, but they develop quite a substantial amount of nobility, so they have to drop to the bottom spots. In the Emperor's case, he realizes that what he's doing is wrong and goes back to being his old self, Kenichi Joji. After some soul-searching, he works to repair the damage he's done to Digiworld. His heroics bring down his evil score so much that he just barely makes the list. Damian Wayne from the Batman comics. This martial arts prodigy is the progeny of Batman and his former girlfriend, Talia al Ghul, master of the League of Assassins. He was trained from birth to be a master assassin and strategist, and groomed to someday lead the League. Batman was unaware of his son's existence until Damian turned 10. That's when Talia sends the boy to live with his daddy for a while. Batman thinks she's doing this to distract him from stopping her latest evil scheme. Personally, I believe she really shipped the kid off because she hoped Dad would straighten him out. Damian is an arrogant, self-centered brat, prone to throwing a fit and his food when he doesn't get his way. He insults and talks down to everybody, and eagerly and easily kills people to accomplish his goals. He attempts to murder Robin so he can take his place at Batman's side. But when Dick Grayson takes over the role of Batman, he makes Damian his Robin. That might be considered as smart as giving a serial killer a bazooka, but Dick has his reasons. He wants to keep an eye on the little demon, and he wants to provide him with proper guidance so that he won't kill again. Being Robin is slowly causing Damian to develop a sense of morality and nobility. I've gone from hating the little bugger to seeing him as an interesting, complex, and sympathetic character whom I sometimes like, but he's still a snooty little douchebag who talks down to everybody. Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter. If they gave grades at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry for advanced douchebaggery, Malfoy would get a AA+. Because this kid comes from a line of rich and powerful pure-blood wizards, he thinks he's better than everybody else. At school, he takes every opportunity to inflict pain on his fellow students. He harasses them, steals their stuff, and does everything he can to get them in trouble. He even treats his so-called friends like scum. He constantly talks tough, but whenever there's danger around, he squeals like a little baby and runs away. Like the rest of his family, Draco believes that pure-blood wizards and witches are superior to everybody, and should be treated as such. His parents happily serve Voldemort, the main villain of the series, who wants to take over the world so that purebloods can dominate all life. It's a goal that sounds very appealing to Draco, and he doesn't mind if a few thousand people get killed to obtain it, as long as they're non-magical people, or wizards and witches with non-magical heritage. Yeah, this blonde pretty boy is rotten to the core. Or is he? In the 6th and 7th Potter stories, he shows us that he is capable of feeling some compassion, and he finds that he isn't as on board with Voldemort's plans of terror and genocide as he once believed. It's enough to damage his villain status significantly, but is it enough for people to forget his past bullying? Oh, heck no! Some of the sweetest moments in the Potter series are when he gets his comeuppance. Lock, Shock, and Barrel from The Nightmare Before Christmas. These little imps are Halloween Town's trio of trick-or-treaters. Lock is the one in the devil costume, Shock is the witch, and Barrel is the little roly-poly in the skeleton mask. These scamps primarily work for the sinister Oogie Boogie and aid in his evil schemes, but they will also do errands for the good guys, if it's in their best interest to do so, or if the job sounds like fun. And what is fun to these pint-sized little troublemakers is to terrify and maim their victims and listen to them scream. Listen to what they plan to do to Santa Claus, or Sandy Claus as the denizens of Halloween Town call him.
Kidnap the Santa Claus, chop him into bits. Mr. Oogie is sure to get his kicks. Kidnap the Santa Claus, see what we will see. Lock him in a cage and then throw away the key.
Yeah, if these runs show up on your doorstep, you can be sure they have a particularly nasty trick in store for you. And it'll be a treat for them to hear you wail in terror.
Haven't you heard of peace on earth and goodwill toward men?
Now!
Chris Hargensen from Carrie. Everybody who's ever gone through the hell that is high school has likely met someone like Chris. Someone who thinks she's way above everybody else, and that gives her license to badmouth teachers and torment those she considers freaks. Her favorite victim is Carrie White, a girl who just doesn't fit in.
Shouldn't people like that be homeschooled?
People like what, Chris?
You know, creepy religious people.
Chris and the rest of the student body happily make poor Carrie's life miserable. Finally, a teacher steps in and punishes Carrie's tormentors with detention. When Chris refuses to attend, she's banned from the prom. In Chris's self-centered, perverted mind, this is all Carrie's fault, and she must pay. First, she lies to Carrie, convincing her that the one girl who was nice to her really doesn't like her. On prom night, Chris's friends rig the votes so that Carrie is elected prom queen. After she's crowned, Chris and her boyfriend dump buckets of pig's blood on her. What a sick, soulless whore! Turns out Carrie has telekinesis, the power to move objects with her mind. Chris's little trick causes her to snap, and she destroys the school. Most of Carrie's tormentors are either barbecued or electrocuted, all except Chris, who got out before the destruction started. But don't worry, Karma will be coming to visit her eventually. The Kid Cult from Children of the Corn.
If your kids come home with 70% of their bodies tattooed and pierced, and their hair done up in pink and orange mohawks, it's nothing to worry about. They're just expressing themselves artistically. But if they come home wearing farmer's clothes from the 19th century and start obsessing over corn, panic! They may try to kill you!
The adults of Gatlin, Nebraska learned this lesson the hard way. They didn't suspect anything was wrong when most of their children suddenly attacked and killed them. The children make up a cult that worships some kind of bloodthirsty supernatural thing called He Who Walks Behind the Rows. It lives in Gatlin's cornfields. Ah, so it's a corny supernatural being. Would it have killed you to thaw that corn out first? The most ruthless of the kids are Isaac and Malachi. Isaac is the cult's leader and mouthpiece of He Who Walks Behind the Rows. He's the one who convinced the kids of Gatlin to do the reprehensible things that they do. It's possible that He Who Walks Behind the Rows may have brainwashed them, but it's never confirmed. So it may be that it was Isaac alone who persuaded these small-town church-going farm kids to become cold-blooded killers. Isaac is arrogant and power-mad. He revels in his role as leader and loves being respected and obeyed by the kids. He also has that uber creepy voice.
Question me not, Malachi. I act according to his will.
Then you have Malachi, Isaac's right-hand carrot top, and he really loves his job. When the cult needs somebody punished or killed, he does it eagerly and brutally. He uses any and every excuse to cut someone open with that huge knife of his. Of all the kids, he is the most bloodthirsty. The kids serve their corn-loving master by sacrificing to it any adult who happens to wander into town. These youngins are sick and twisted, and their story is a bit unnerving. Then again, this is a Stephen King story. Messed up stuff is pretty much the norm.